popular product we have on tvtrade.ie is this aluminium pole that I have in front of me. It's 1.25 inches or 32 millimeters in diameter. It's 1.8 meters long and normally be used for mounting TV aerials. Now it's about a third of the weight of the galvanized version of this pole, so although it would be ideal for mounting TV aerials in certain circumstances, it wouldn't be strong enough, I would say, for mounting a satellite dish, simply because it's not quite strong enough. Now, how is this actually mounted? So we have the aerial mounted here, we'll say, and the bracket itself can be mounted onto, we'll say, a bracket that will mount on a chimney like this. So we'll actually come along and we'll have a lashing kit going around the chimney, U-bolts here, and we'll actually mount this onto the side of the chimney. Okay. The other alternative is to use something like this H bracket and mount it onto the gable end of a wall. So we just mount it in here, and once again we use U-bolts here, and we can mount the aerial on top of it. Okay, so that's it. So the big advantage of this particular pole is that it doesn't rust and it's light and easy to work with. Okay, now alternative poles that we could use to this one would, first of all, we'll talk about the galvanized pole here, and about 90% of all the poles we sell on the website are just galvanized poles. These are much stronger than the aluminium pole. They're a good bit heavier and they're reasonably resistant to rust. But the big advantage of them is that they're extra strength, okay? So quite a strong pole, and the cost of them are relatively similar to each other. It all depends, but you know, normally galvanized is slightly less expensive. And then an alternative to that would be, you know, the disadvantage of those poles, two poles I've shown initially, is that you need to use a bracket with it. Now, an alternative to this would be to actually come along, and this pole here is overcome it by having the bracket built into it. So we'll just rotate this 90 degrees, bolt this onto the wall, and what we have here is the pole is bent and it comes out 18 inches, which is wide enough to get past most soffits, and it goes up there. So we'd mount the aerial here and just use plugs and bolts like this, 8 of them, to mount this onto a wall. Okay. Now, if we want to go slightly more exotic than this, with some specialist poles that we sell, particularly for boats and caravans, the first one here is actually just a 3-piece pole, which will actually just clip together. The idea of this is that you can store it easily if you're in your camper van. When you get to your location, you simply assemble it, stick it on the pole, assemble it, stick your aerial on it, and then you can quickly disassemble it the next day. Or alternatively, you can go for a yet higher tech version of this, which is a telescopic version, where instead of clipping together parts, it actually just feeds out of each other. So 3 pieces are built inside of one thing. So this extends out to over 4 meters. Now this is not as strong, we'll say, as any of the other poles, but it is a very, very neat design, and it does work extremely well, and it's a product that sells reasonably well on the tvtrade.ie website. So that's it, an overview of the poles we sell on TV Trade, and in particular the aluminium pole I featured first.